Pixar and Disney are both meticulous in their attention to detail, and we noticed. Oh, have we noticed? Now that they've shacked up together, plenty of new, awesome connections can be found between their movies. We've done some digging and come up with some interesting secret connections between characters from their more recent films.
Shh, come here, it's a secret.
Number 1. Spoiler alert. Do we need a spoiler alert for a 2-year-old movie? Anyway, at the end of Soul, Joe and 22 head toward the Earth, with 22 heading toward a very interesting place on Earth, Qinghai, China. Why is that interesting? Great question, viewer, because red pandas are native to the area of Qinghai. We don't know if Mei Lee from Turning Red was born there, but what are the odds that 22 lands where red pandas are thriving? That's not a common animal. More evidence? 22 and Mei are both goofy, funny, confident, and have a knack for resisting authority figures. Both characters use a circle on the ground to traverse different planes of existence. Both characters also have personal things they are trying to find and figure out. I mean, we all have a search for our own purposes, but the facts are lining up, people. There are a few disadvantages to this theory, mostly timing. Mei is a 90s kid in Canada, while Joe and 22's adventure occurs sometime after the proliferation of smartphones. We also don't know where Mei was born, even if her family is Chinese. However, the inhabitants of the astral plane admit time isn't really a thing in there, so who knows how time works? Also, come on, 22 heads to where red pandas are from? What are the odds? Number 2. These two dragons might not just share a similar personality. There are many dragons in the Disney canon, but rarely do they use Eastern influences for their dragon-type content. There's only 2 that change from inanimate objects to living dragons: Mushu from Mulan and Sisu from Raya and the Last Dragon. Raya and the Last Dragon's Kumandra predates all other Eastern countries and continents, so if this theory is correct, Raya's journey takes place a long time before Mulan's journey, giving plenty of time for the culture surrounding dragons to change. Perhaps they go from being separate from humans to ingrained within human families as protective guardians like the Great Stone Dragon from Mulan. Problems with this theory. The dragons are from different cultural roots, Mushu being a general Eastern tradition, while Sisu is distinctly Southeastern in design. But as I said, there was a lot of time between Raya's life and Mulan's life. Enough for some dragon pilgrimage. I mean, they can bounce off water droplets to fly. All I'm saying is, where was Sisu when Mulan needed her, eh? Number 3. We all love cute furry creatures, but do you love them enough to do this right away to an 8-foot monster?
You're so fluffy!
You might if you had a bonding experience with a similar monster in your early childhood, like Boo from Monsters, Inc. You see where I'm going with this, right? Abby might be Boo from Monsters, Inc. First, check out Abby's overalls, flowers much like the flowers on Boo's door from Monsters, Inc. Next, look at the 2 of them. Pretty similar looking, no? Okay, now for problems with this theory. Monsters, Inc. appears to take place in 1999, but that's in monster year, so maybe not the same as ours? Second, and more importantly, Turning Red's director straight up said this theory is wrong, but they said they may be connected in some way. Perhaps Abby is part of Boo's family, maybe a sister or her cousin. Number 4, we don't talk about Alberto's father, because he's Bruno. Before you make like Mirabelle's family and say, no, let me make my argument. First, the name, duh. Alberto is always saying,
Silencio, Bruno!
The voice in his head being his cautious father. Second, tower-themed homes. Bruno lives in a tower, Alberto lives in a tower. Third, Alberto's got those green eyes. My man Bruno's eyes go green when he goes all prophet. Fourth, the timing works out because Encanto happens in the 50s and Luca happens in the late 50s or early 60s. This is sounding pretty possible, right? Okay, a few issues. Italy is not Colombia, but travel is a thing, so let's assume Bruno can travel to Italy. Another issue, Bruno is a great guy and dedicated to his family despite their black sheeping him, so he would never abandon his own son, right? Don't you worry, I've got the explanation for that. See, Bruno is not Alberto's biological father, but someone who saw Alberto in his prophecies and decided to take care of him until he was able to care for himself. Bruno was always telling Alberto to be careful because he could only see all the ways Alberto might hurt himself in his prophecies, or maybe he saw that he was not helping Alberto by being there but hurting him by being too cautious. And so Bruno left to help other children in Alberto's situation. There, our favorite characters' reputations are protected in this theory. Number 5. Just because a guy looks intimidating and scary doesn't mean he's a bad guy, unless they are Shan Yu. Then yes, they are a bad guy. The two characters do not share a personality, but they do share a similar look and might share a bloodline. First of all, as previously stated, Kumandra predates all other Eastern countries, so Tong's descendants could have easily traversed their way to the area predating Mongolia where Shan Yu is from. Second, Spine's tough people feel like they might be a predecessor to the cutthroat people that follow Shan Yu in his quest, or maybe an offshoot of Tong's people who left Spine to go on their own. And finally, and most compellingly, look at them. Number 6. What's in a name? Last name in this case. Riley Anderson and Bonnie Anderson from Inside Out and Toy Story respectively share a last name. Could they be related? A few things make this possible. First, they both at some point lived in the Bay Area of San Francisco. Also, Riley has a memory of a specific playground from her childhood. Look familiar? Yup, it's almost identical to a playground from Sunnyside Daycare from Toy Story 3. Number 7. Boo comes back for another possible connection. Lots of theorists from across the web have proposed that Boo becomes the witch from Brave. The biggest evidence for this being the Sully figure drawn inside the Witchidler's shop. The theory states Boo, in her desire to see Sully again, dabbles in magic to recreate the doors the monsters created with monster science. She then accidentally travels back in time and is then trapped in the past, where she follows her second greatest desire, whittling. Number 8. Royalty loves to keep it in the family, don't they? Keen-eyed viewers know that Tangled's Rapunzel showed up to the coronation of her cousin Elsa in Frozen. Do you think Elsa was surprised to see she now had brown hair instead of blonde? I would have been like, oh my gosh, you were locked in a tower for years? So was I. Number 9. You only need a little Greek mythology and a dose of logic for this next connection. So, Hercules' father is Zeus. Zeus's brother is Poseidon. Poseidon is the father of King Triton, which means Triton is Hercules' first cousin. Feels weird to think they are in the same generation, but that's what the logic dictates. Number 10. Ending with a little nostalgia, let's talk Tarzan and Beauty and the Beast. This last connection links Belle to Jane as her great-grandmother. How? Well, first, look at that tea set. Where could Jane get something like that other than through inheritance? Second, they both are big on their yellows. Third, they have similar features. Fourth, both love books and knowledge. Fifth, both love their beast men. And yes, Belle is French and Jane is English, but the theory goes that Belle and her beast prince fled France during the Revolution to continue their family in England. A bit of a reach, but remember the tea set. The facts have been presented and the connections have been made. Do you agree with our theories? Let us know below. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe so you don't miss more things, and thanks for stopping by The Things Animated.